Thank you, Nelva, and thank you all my distinguished colleagues. Is everybody ready to get certified? Let's go, yeah! All right, we have fireworks, yay! Okay, this process is by interpreters and for interpreters, and you want to know how to do it, how much is it going to cost, where do I go, right? Okay, I'm going to tell you that. So prerequisites, it's a process. It's not just one thing. So first, we are going to grandfather those that have 1 year proven work experience, and that's valid until May of 2011. And then interpreters with less than 1 year work experience, you have to be 18, have a high school diploma or equivalent, be a medical interpreter, and have passed a program, at least 40 hours, and then you have to prove your oral proficiency. And the process is you just go online and register, and the website is going to be at the end. And we have a table outside. Has everybody got their shirt at the table outside? It's got a lot of information on it for this. And we also have a handout that's going to tell you the process. You can pick that up at the break. So you're going to register. It's $30 to register. Then you'll be contacted to take the written exam. And that's going to take about 1.5 hours. Again, it's computer-based. It's going to be at a PSI site. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And those are proctored sites all across the United States, and the cost is $150. Then step 3, depending on your non-English working language, you're going to take the oral exam that Dan, you talked about the development of. That's going to cost $250, but it's based on your passing the written exam. And most people will be taking this one. But we're going to explain in a minute what it means to be a qualified or a screened interpreter, and those processes are coming soon, and those are going to be for languages of lesser diffusion. And then you have to get recertified. I mean, to get recertified or to keep your certification, you have to prove that you have 3 CEUs in 5 years. And if you've been here, you've heard that IIMIA is going to offer CEUs. You can get CEUs at this conference, and they're going to offer 4 trainings each year online to also obtain CEUs. I mean, every other healthcare professional has to do this now. Medical interpreters are going to be getting the continuing education units. With that, you can go out with your certified medical interpreter, your CMI certificate, and your card that you're certified. And that is that you've completed the written and the oral exam. And this is initially available in Spanish, but it will be expanded next year. It's going to be available in 22 of the most requested languages in the United States, eventually expanding to 30, which takes in about 95% of the languages that are used frequently in the US. If you're a minority language, we're going to offer a qualified medical interpreter status, a QMI, and that is that you've successfully completed the written exam, and then you will have another qualification exam, an equivalent exam in these minority languages. And finally, we've taken our cue from our colleagues in Canada that have many indigenous languages, and in Australia that have Aboriginal languages, and have a process for those kind of languages, emerging languages, of screened medical interpreter, where you pass a portfolio review. And these are the top 22 languages that are going to be coming on board as the national board is able to get those test processes in place. And as John mentioned, PSI is a national company. There's locations all over, so even in any area of the country, for all interpreters, all languages, all places, you'll be able to take your written exam. And we have a sheet on that you can pick up on the table that tells where those cities are. If you can't see it on the map at the website, where the cities are in each state. And again, you will be given the information on how to call PSI and schedule your test and where. Now, the written exam, what's it going to cover, right? Everybody wants to know that. Well, there will be test materials, test material preparations, preparation materials will be forthcoming. But it's going to cover, obviously, medical terminology, not translation, but everything's going to be in English, but understanding of the terminology and context. Obviously, roles, ethics, cultural competency, medical specialties, and then standards of practice. And in the job analysis data, it was determined that these 3 standards of practices are the ones that we're going to cover. It doesn't mean that you have to know exactly which standard comes from which IMIA, CHIA, or National Council, but you have to know the standards in general. And then legislations and regulations, that medical terminology is going to be the largest and most weighted part of the test, but you will have to know a little bit about, in general, about HIPAA and the culturally and linguistically appropriate standards, the class standards. And on the oral exam, obviously you're going to be tested on linguistic proficiency in both working languages, consecutive interpreting skills. We're not going to do simultaneous. It was determined that medical interpreters use, in the main, consecutive interpreting. And the sight translation part is going to be from English into the other language. It was determined that's more used than the other way around, so that's going to be tested. And then knowledges of medical terminology and specialties. And that's not the most, you'll have to know the basics, not nuclear medicine, for example, but you'll have to know pediatrics, mother and baby, diabetes, oncology, cardiology, but you won't have to know the real esoteric specialties. And then cultural competency, of course. So we need to get certified, and these are some of the reasons to get certified if you are not already convinced, but you really are going to set an example for everyone as you get certified, credentialed. It's going to help us with our advocacy efforts in DC when we say we have a standard, we have credentials interpreters, now we need reimbursement. For all these reasons, we need to get certified. Again, there's materials on the table. Please pick up. We have, you can register online, and we have a hard copy of the registration for those that aren't computer literate. You can pick that up at the table. And we have a website, which is right here. This website is where you can get all your information that you may need. So, are you ready again? We're going to go? We're going to get registered? All right. Thank you.